Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Russia and the United States agreed to accelerate efforts towards a political solution in Syria, and de Mistura announces continuation of peace talks on April the 9th. The United Nations condemns a gruesome killing of a wounded Palestinian assailant. North Korea stages its largest ever long-range artillery drill. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Mohammed Abdul Hamid of Bangladesh. It comes on the occasion of his country's independence anniversary. Russia and the United States agreed at talks in Moscow to use their influence over the sides in the Syria conflict to persuade them to accelerate efforts towards a political solution. Speaking after a 4-hour meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said Moscow and Washington would try in the next few days to nudge Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad to make the right decision about committing fully to peace talks. Negotiations in Geneva between representatives of the Syrian government and opposition are bogged down, and Washington believes that Moscow, closely allied to Assad, could convince Damascus to make concessions. A round of Syria peace talks concluded with both sides agreeing on some key principles, but without making any concrete advances towards a political solution. Staffan de Mistura, the UN Special Envoy for Syria, voiced optimism that the 2 weeks spent, mainly trying to pin down which key principles the warring sides could agree upon, would enable them to quickly get down to discuss issues of political transition when they return to Geneva next month around April 9th. A fragile truce that has held since February 27th has raised hopes for an end to the 5-year Syrian conflict that has killed more than 270,000 people and forced millions to flee their homes. Syrian state media and opposition activists said heavy fighting is underway between government troops and Daesh militants on the outskirts of Palmyra, with the two sides exchanging artillery and gunfire. The historic town in central Syria has been controlled by the Daesh group since May. The militants have destroyed and blown up some of its most famous archaeological relics. The Syrian army, backed by Russian airstrikes, is pushing to recapture the town. A military official, cited by the state-run news agency Sana, said today that troops seized the so-called Syria Tel Hill near the Palmyra citadel. They have also captured several hills around the town. The UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is on a 2-day visit to Lebanon, along with the World Bank Group President and Chief of the Islamic Development Bank. He is also to visit a social center for Syrian refugees in Tripoli and an informal refugee settlement in the eastern Bekaa Valley. He had this to say in a joint press conference.
Dr. Kim Yong-kim, the President of World Bank Group, the international community is united and ready to offer its strong support for your country, Lebanon. Few countries have demonstrated in the world the generosity that the government and people of Lebanon have shown towards Syrian refugees. Syria's neighbors are model for other countries and regions that have far more resources than they do.
The United Nations condemned today the gruesome killing of a wounded Palestinian assailant by an Israeli soldier in the occupied West Bank after a video of the death spread widely online. The Israeli army yesterday arrested a soldier caught on shooting video a wounded Palestinian assailant in the head as he lay on the ground after stabbing another soldier, his knife lying beyond his reach. The clip, which was widely shared online and shown by state-owned and commercial Israeli TV channels, showed what appeared to be one of the most flagrant cases of the Israeli forces' alleged use of excess force so far in the wave of Israeli-Palestinian violence that erupted in October. North Korea said today it has staged its largest ever long-range artillery drills. The state broadcaster KRT said the exercise was aimed at destroying the South Korean presidential office and Seoul. According to the state media, more than 100 long-range artillery pieces were involved in the drill. In recent days, North Korea's state media had issued warlike rhetoric to attack Seoul and Washington in response to ongoing annual military drills between the allies that it sees as an invasion rehearsal. Still to come in our news bulletin. Activities of IBRI annual Camel Beautification and Race Festival starts in the Wilaya of IBRI. The Literature Forum celebrated World Poem Day through organizing a poetic evening for the poets in the Governorate of Musandam. A large number of poets participated in the evening through delivering poems in which they expressed their love for the Sultanate. The activity also gave poets a chance to discuss social issues. The activity is also considered very important for poets to develop their talent and exchange experiences with each other. It witnessed a wide participation from those interested in poetry. The event was held under the patronage of His Excellency Sayyid Khalifa bin Al-Mirdas Al-Busaidi, the Governor of Musandam. Raising awareness among society members about preserving water resources and rationalizing their usage were the top goals of the celebration of World Water Day in the Governorate of Bareilly, which falls on the 22nd of March every year. On this occasion, the Directorate General of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources in the Governorate organized an activity day. The day included awareness lectures that targeted school students and a visit to the dams in the Sultanate. It also contained a work paper on forages in the Sultanate and challenges facing groundwater in the Governorate. The activity witnessed a wide participation of various society segments. In appreciation and recognition of the teacher's role in building the society, the Directorate General of Education in the Governorate of Dakhlia held a ceremony to mark the celebration of Teachers' Day. The celebration included giving a speech that expressed the importance of this occasion and artistic paintings that reflected teachers' messages. Female and male school students took part in the celebration by reciting poems on the effort exerted by teachers in developing the education march in the Sultanate. The activity witnessed a wide participation of teachers, school students, and other society segments. Marking this day will encourage and stimulate teachers to exert more efforts in teaching. To preserve Omani heritage, activities of IBRI annual Camel Beautification and Race Festival started today in the Wilaya of IBRI in the Governorate of Dahira. The festival witnessed a wide participation from camel breeders from various governorates of the Sultanate. It is also worth mentioning that the festival attracts a large number of camel enthusiasts from the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. And now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas and governorates of Bareilly, overlooking the Sea of Oman, with chances of fog late night and early morning. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be north to northwesterly light to moderate, occasionally active over the coastal areas. Seas will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Russia and the United States agree to accelerate efforts towards a political solution in Syria, and de Mistura announces continuation of peace talks on April the 9th. The United Nations condemns a gruesome killing of a wounded Palestinian assailant. And North Korea stages its largest ever long-range artillery drills. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.